U.S. President Donald Trump's pick to head up national intelligence is now heading to the Senate for a confirmation vote after narrow approval from the Senate Intelligence Committee. The choice of Tulsi Gabbard has security experts in Canada concerned about the future of our intelligence relationship with the U.S.
Those who oppose my nomination imply that I am loyal to something or someone other than God, my own conscience, and the Constitution of the United States. Accusing me.
Gabbard is a former congresswoman from Hawaii, and she has faced pointed questions about her support of views shared by Russian President Vladimir Putin and former Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The director of national intelligence, she would oversee 18 intelligence agencies and a budget of $70 billion. For more this morning, we are joined from Ottawa by Wesley Wark, Senior Fellow at the Centre for Intelligence Governance Innovation. Good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
If confirmed, Gabbard would become the first national intelligence director with no major national security experience. Is her appointment a concern for us here in Canada?
I think it's going to be hugely problematic, not just for Canada, but for all of the United States' intelligence partners and what's often called the Five Eyes. That's including Canada, UK, Australia, and New Zealand, a very tight intelligence partnership that shares a lot of intelligence information and has been in existence really since the end of the Second World War. Not only is Tulsi Gabbard, completely lacking qualifications to be the most senior intelligence official sitting at the right hand of Donald Trump, but she has some very problematic views. And for the Canadian intelligence community, it raises huge questions of trust between Canada and the United States. Now, this is not the only front, of course, in which trust questions have been raised, given all of the kinds of measures that Donald Trump has threatened against Canada. But the intelligence partnership, I think, is one that people thought and hoped would be able to endure no matter what political moves Donald Trump takes. But having Tulsi Gabbard at his right hand, I think, raises the stakes for Canada and really poses some, huge issues around how Canada is going to be able to understand global threats, where we really rely on the United States as our eyes and ears.
The National Intelligence Director would also oversee, among other agencies, the CIA. They do act as the principal advisor to the president on intelligence issues. We know from, previous reporting that oftentimes the president would skip, for whatever reason, President Trump would skip those briefings and would rely on the verbal briefings of the director. So what role would Gabbard play in Trump's national security decisions?
Well, she's really the gatekeeper for intelligence reaching the president in whatever form. There's a very famous, method to deliver intelligence to U.S. presidents called the President's Daily Brief. Donald Trump may not be, terrifically a big fan of that form of intelligence reporting, but he does, certainly in his first term in office, he was prepared to take at least oral intelligence briefings. So Tulsi Gabbard, and it looks like her confirmation is likely to be confirmed when she goes to the floor of the Senate, she will be the gatekeeper. She will be the person to decide what should and shouldn't go to the president. And, what this raises really, given that her only qualification for the job is her apparent loyalty, although she seems to be quite an opportunist in this regard, her apparent loyalty to Donald Trump and the America First movement, it raises a huge question about whether the president will hear the kind of intelligence he really needs if he's going to conduct any kind of sensible American national security or foreign policy.
You've described U.S. intelligence agencies as Canada's eyes and ears for security threats abroad. So how could this appointment then affect Canada's intelligence relationship with the United States, aside from her office?
Well, yeah, we're hearing other alarming news, as you know, about, the offer of buyouts to the entire CIA workforce and so on. The U.S. intelligence community is going to be turned upside down, I think, by the Trump administration. And what that means is that Canada is going to have to find other sources of knowledge about global developments, where we have a really limited capacity ourselves. We have some, but limited capacity to kind of follow global threats that might impact on Canadian interests or Canadian desires in the world, whether it's with regard to the Russia-Ukraine war, the Middle East, developments in Indo-Pacific, or what have you. We have been historically reliant on the United States to provide us with a huge flow of intelligence, given the enormous capacities that they have, which dwarf what we have. So I think the the implications for Canada is that Canada is going to have to look to other partners to fill some of those gaps, is going to have to build greater resources ourselves to be able to monitor the world.
Where would some of those other countries be, Wesley?
Well, we'd start with our Five Eyes partners, the other Five Eyes partners, the UK with a strong intelligence system and links to Europe, Australia, equally a strong intelligence system with a kind of good grasp of developments in the Indo-Pacific, New Zealand, more regional power, but still some capabilities. And then, I think we're really going to have to think about strengthening partnerships with countries like the Nordics, all of which have good intelligence services, often focused on Russia, for example, for obvious reasons. Other major European powers like Germany and France have strong intelligence services that we could partner with more effectively than we do at the moment. And looking to the Indo-Pacific area, working with countries like South Korea and Japan, which have their own eyes and ears on developments, particularly with regard to countries like India and China, is going to be vital for us.
Wesley Wark, Senior Fellow at the Center for International Governance Innovation. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.